Okay, it is 5:30 PM on April 3rd, 2025. This is the monthly meeting of the Parks and Rec Committee. I'm Bill O'Brien, subbing for Paul Aurelia, who is not able to attend tonight. And I need the first order of business would be approval of the minutes for March 6th.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that motion.
Any discussion? They look good to me, so all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Passes unanimously. And what do we have? Chad first.
Sounds good to me.
Chad, it must be, the job must begin to you. Your goatee seems whiter than last time I saw.
Either that or my daughter's 10 now. I don't know, one of the two. Lots going around in the Parks Division. Early spring, we have spring sports starting. We have the painting of fields, preparation of fields, high school sports, Sterling House sports, recreational sports, cleanup, stick cleanup, property cleanups. Everything is going on. So I'll just kind of run through, what's going on, and if anybody has any questions, please let me know. Worcester Field, we paint the 10 soccer fields. Flood Field, we paint one 7v7, one large lacrosse field for Sterling House Proctor. Chico Soccer, we got the large field down there, soccer. Miscellaneous baseball lines at DeLuca, Stony Brook, Birdseye, Bunnell, Clover, Wigwam, etc. Second Hill Lane, 6 small soccer fields. Penders, once a year, we paint the blue lacrosse lines because those were not stitched in. So every year in the spring before lacrosse starts, we paint them, for Sterling House and for the high school. The small 7v7 soccer field and left field at Penders, we painted 2. That's a yellow field. The football upright is removed in preparation for baseball. At Short Beach Complex, we started cleaning the debris off the beach. This was obviously through the month of March, got it all cleaned. And starting yesterday, April 2nd, we are continuing with the coastal resiliency plan. And the option that we chose in the coastal resiliency plan is beach and coastal erosions. So we put about 1,200 tons of sand on the beach, spread it all out in the usable areas, not really towards the wake line. I'm sorry? No, not towards the wake line. And it ends up, we're 2 days in. We got about another 3 days to go and about 50 truckloads, about 1,300 tons of sand. The Big Belly, we collected almost 10,000 gallons of trash and recycling. Over the month, we diverted about 30% of the collected waste from landfills by collecting the recycling, by having the dual. For Yelp Interactive Playground, for the month of March, there was 15 total hours played, which is actually pretty good because March was a pretty cold month. So it must have been that week of 70 degrees that really kicked it off and initiated some play. The calories burned in those 15 hours was 1,504. And as far as projects, we have, our 3 playground projects, which are continuing. Stony Brook Park, all the equipment is ordered. Worcester Park, all the equipment is ordered. Motel Park Playground, all the equipment is ordered. All of those playgrounds are ordered. Once they come in, they're going to be loose infill rubber. They're not going to be pour and play surface. So once the equipment is in, the installation is going to happen. So we're hoping an early spring on those. Yep.
Sorry, this is Drew Boddington. Question.
Yeah.
What's the age group on those playgrounds? Just out of curiosity.
Those are all 5x12. We're replacing what was there.
No, yeah. I meant ages, because some of them are for older kids.
I'm sorry. Kids. You mean installation ages are all 2008. So they're all 16 years.
Yeah, but
I think he means the age of the youth?
For the kids. Yeah, for the kids.
They're all 5x12 playgrounds. 5 years to 12 years old.
Okay. No young ones, huh?
No, we're in the design phase of Booth Park, and Booth Park is going to have a 5 to 12 playground as well as a 2 to 5 playground. So that's going to be a dual purpose property.
All right, thank you.
Yep. And then, school playground projects, we have the chapel playground extension, which equipment was ordered, back in January, February. Once that equipment is in, it takes, 12 to 16 weeks, I think, for equipment to come in. And then we're gonna be doing pour in place rubber on the extension in the back. Second Hill, what's that? Sorry, all right. Second Hill Playground, the 5 to 12 playground, or the right-hand playground as you go around the loop. That's gonna have a pour in place surface. That's slated to be done during the school break between April 13th and April 20th. So I'm gonna be, talking with the companies and making sure that that happens at that time so that nothing really has to close, and it be a good little project. We have the flood tennis court project, which are gonna be the 6 pickleball courts and the 2 tennis courts. That's a repaint of the surface plus the addition of the pickleball courts. So that's gonna take some time before the temperatures go up where they could paint the surface. The rubber tree wells phase 2, we're doing down by Cebus and the lower part of Main Street. All of those tree wells are going to be cleaned out, and the rubber surface like we did on Barnum Avenue is going to be down there. We have some LED light upgrades going on too. We have flood tennis courts. We're going to change those fixtures to an LED that'll run on a clock or a timer like it currently does, but obviously much more efficient. And it'll be our first lighted dedicated pickleball courts, because we do have them at other places with lights like Longbrook and stuff. Wigwam basketball court, we're going to be adding lights. There is a pole there with a light, but it's been abandoned for a while, so we're actually going to do a light and a timer in that court too. So that's really what we've got going on so far. I could do any questions, or if anybody has any questions, be happy to answer them.
Chad, I had a question about the big bellies. You've got them at Short Beach, right?
Correct. Yes.
How are they holding up with flooding and
so
damage?
It's a great question. So they were supposed to be able to take water up to 48 inches to where the electronics are. But when we first got the big bellies, we tried to do them on the seawall, and there actually was strong waves and water that knocked them over, and we ended up losing one because it was knocked off of out of a secured concrete boring. So being at Short Beach, rarely, I can't say never, but I don't think the water would ever get 48 inches above where it is. But the good thing is that they're not secure there. So if we had to, we could move them out quick. If we're expecting a big storm with major surges, we could just move them.
Nice.
Ironically, the big bellies are now 6 years old. Those particular units I actually carried over from our last lease. So they've been working perfectly performance-wise. The company goes through them, change some boards, add some batteries, did a bunch of stuff, and they still work flawless. They still report very well, and it's been a really good system. We average, I have about 84 units now because we increased from the last lease, and we average about 0.65 collections per day. So out of the 86 units, we only do 1 per day on average in a month.
And any idea how many that would be if you didn't have the big bellies?
Yeah, so each one it's a 125 gallon capacity, so it's 5 times the size of a regular garbage can, because it compacts, and then once it gets to 80% compaction, that's when it sends a report to me, my foreman, and that North Beach 2 or Short Beach 2 or Short Beach concession needs to be emptied. So it's a really cool. Very, very cool process. And don't get me wrong, it's an expensive process, but the cost savings and everything that's done, and the removal of all these extra garbage cans, the rodent, the safeties, all of that stuff, the birds, so it's had like 3 different levels of
I definitely think it's worth the price.
Yeah. That's why when we released this past year, we increased the fleet and added it into more areas, getting rid of open garbage cans, having the big bellies, and constantly like, oh, you remove garbage cans. Well, there's one big belly that holds 5 times the regular 35 gallon can. So, you just got to get used to it. You got to walk a little bit further, but now it's been an excellent system. And I did want to say too, I forgot, we did open the golf course down at Short Beach, and, we did $10,000 in about 10 days or something like that. It's been crazy, crazy busy down there. Where the first weekend in March, we sold 2,200 on a Saturday, almost sold out. And this past Saturday, when it was, nearly 70 degrees, we did 3,300 and it was sold out until 5:30 p.m. So it's been crazy busy.
How'd the course hold up from the winter?
Looks fantastic.
The
Great.
guys that I've
Yeah.
talked to
Yeah,
who
Chad,
played
Rick
early
Marconi, I
think
just
it's
want
in
to
good
comment.
shape.
Yeah.
Was that?
My son and I have been out twice now already, and fighting the wind and everything, whatever, but the course looks great. The geese
Yeah.
are right back at home. They're feeling very comfortable. And,
Yeah.
but great job down there. I think it's been terrific.
Yeah, we just put out 4 buckets of goose gram today. I have 5 more coming tomorrow, and then I just ordered 300 more pounds on Amazon. That'll be here on Monday. So now we'll try and get into that every 2-week. Yeah, because you got to spread that stuff every 2 weeks to kind of get the geese out of there. And obviously, we can't do everything on the course, but we try and do the high intensity areas around the ponds, the baseball fields, that kind of stuff. So,
Yeah.
Chad,
Okay,
do you
looks
cover
good.
the soccer field as well? That's been quite a
Yes.
good haven
Yeah.
lately.
yeah, we do the soccer fields and the little league fields. Most of our assets go towards that because of the human safety issue. Not that the golf course doesn't, but because kids are, on their hands, knees, getting knocked down, we try and do those as much as possible. And goose gram is very hard to find. It's manipulated. It's crazy. I was able to find 300 pounds. Usually we get 22-pound buckets, but they only had 10-pound bags. So I bought 30 bags today. So it's tough. It works, and I can't complain about that. It's just hard to get the material.
And do you have a start
that-
date yet for the Monday league? Because Paul Hoydick, the rookie, is very curious to know.
I heard Paul is chomping at the bit. I just was down there today, and John posted, I think, all of the leagues and the matches. And I know he said a lot of people are, when do we start? When do we start? And you have to talk with the guy in charge there. I don't know when the
Oh, yeah.
actual first
Yeah, I
date
don't
is.
think he sent the email out yet.
No, but I mean, I would imagine it's coming soon. The golf courses, and Mike could tell you this, we're about a week behind other courses, like up in the inland. The shoreline takes a little bit longer to come out of dormancy, but I was there today and everything looks fantastic. We had Jeff from Tom Irwin yesterday, and the programs that we did in the wintertime and everything last season really showed itself over this year. The course really came out of winter very, very nice with stronger turf, dense turf. So we're excited.
Any more thought to making a couple holes par fours?
No.
Has that been put? That's kind of
No, I mean I mean the only hole you could possibly do is number 7, but if you put a driver in people's hands, number 2 green, it's just the property is very, very small.
yeah.
It would really have to take, like maybe talking with a golf course architect or coming up with a plan, but how tight it is, you're going to put people in danger.
Yeah, I mean number 4 you could do, but it'd be so dangerous in that parking lot. It'd be impossible.
Yeah.
Even number 4 is tough. Like if you push it back, then you could land on 3T, and
Yeah.
it's tough. Logistically, it's very hard. It was, Jeffrey Corners designed it as a par 3, and he made it as an interesting par 3 as he could. As part of the report too, we added about I don't know how many truckloads it was. I'd say about 15 truckloads of bunker sand. We just went with Mason sand just to kind of do a 3-inch coating on the bunkers because they were so bad with breakthrough of garbage. So they've been holding up very, very good. They weathered the couple rainstorms that we had good. So, this isn't a long-term fix, but it's kind of a little Band-Aid for this season until we figure out what we're doing on the, the long range plan.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Couple comments I'd like to make. One, the thing I always liked about Short Beach being par 3 is that you pretty much have to use a different club on every tee. And I think that's a fabulous thing about that piece of property is you, I mean, you can almost use every club in the bag. I mean, granted, a guy's not going to hit, you know, 7 is the longest one, right? But so I think that's a great thing about Short Beach is that you have to use a different club on every tee, and that's what I love about it. Yeah, the bunkers are always a struggle. Any concern using mason sand and what that could do to the mowers and, you know, heavy granular like that?
No, I mean, you know, the good thing about the bunkers, the way that they're designed is they have very deep floors. So hopefully, you know, we haven't really seen much sand kick out on the greens. So hopefully, you know, we just do that. But the mason sand is not really too bad. The fines are good. The bigger particle sizes, I don't know. You know, we could always go out. We have whips. So the guys whip in front of the bunkers to try and get any of the big rocks out of the way. So, you know, something that we have to watch for.
What do you have for staff down there?
I have 2 greensmen. I have a greensman 1 and a kind of another one, greensman 2, and then I have Bob. So just a staff of 3. You know, and they do as much as they can with the ball fields and the preparations and softball. They do everything.
That's a
So
lot of work that's got to be done by 3 people.
yes, absolutely. But you know, I have my entire park staff behind them when they need help mowing or they need help mowing everything, lining fields. We have the robot that does that now. So we help them out every way they can. My other staff, my park staff go down and collect garbage at the big bellies, and do all that preparation. So kind of a working between the 2 of our crews.
Hey, I'd be happy to mow greens on an off day.
I'd love to have you, Mike.
And then to add to what Mike said, a couple other great things about it. It's a great course for new golfers.
Yep.
There's a big course, so
Absolutely.
turn them off. And there was just something else and for the guys in their 80s and 90s and a woman too, a lot of them don't want to play the big courses anymore, so it's perfect for them.
Yep.
And
Absolutely.
Paul, you'll be there soon.
One more follow-up on the old people that play the course or whatever is I know it's early in the year, that is a porta potty coming back down there by tee number 5, the 5th hole.
Yeah, it was supposed to be due back the first week of April. We obviously opened up a little bit early, so I'm hoping it's there this week. I reached out to the guy and said, "Hey, where's my porta john?" And so it's coming. It'll be there.
Thank you.
Yep.
And while we're still talking about golf, Bill and Rick, let's get together and play some this year.
Sounds
Down
like
there
a
for
plan.
me.
I like it.
Yeah.
I'll even allow Paul to join us.
Yeah, that'd be great.
We've been struggling down there. I mean, the staffing, I only had 4 returning staff members. So I had to hire 6 new people, 5 new people, 6, either 5 or 6. I can't remember what the number is, but they're starting to get cleared now. I had 3 cleared, 1 cleared last week who started today, 2 more cleared today who will start next week. So we're trying to get these people trained so that we could get the dual shifts and, you know, get the course open for the remainder of days and all of that stuff. Get some, we're really excited. I hired enough staff and some comparable people to do some, making sure that we have rangers because we really need them on weekends and Friday nights and all of that stuff. So.
Thanks, Chad. If there's nothing else, I guess we can go on to Andre. Andre here?
Yep, I'm here.
Hey, there you are.
Stratford Recreation. So March has been a very busy month as well. We're starting to, as the weather turns, you know, we get tons of field requests. Our outdoor programs start filling up, and it starts to get a little hectic. And we're down a person in the office. It's only 3 of us, so we're trying to make it work, and we are. But it's starting to pick up a little bit. We just finished most of our interviews. We've had about 148 returning employees to work this summer. And we have 142 new people who applied for a job this summer. Of those 142 people, we are going to be hiring 78. So it's a large number of staff again this year, and we're going to need it because we also opened up our summer camp registration this week, and our numbers are through the roof as always. Lombrook, our playground camp, they're maxed out within 5 minutes. Registration opened at 8, and it completely filled up at 8:06. We currently have 72 children on the wait list right now for that location. All our other locations, Eli Whitney, Nichols, Short Beach, Victoria Soto, they're all also maxed out with over 20 kids on the wait list. So there's a big demand. We're charging currently $150 for each child. It's the same price as last year, but we have gone up considering compared to the past, and people are still signing up. So it's very, very, very popular this year. We plan on opening up our wait list within the next few weeks. We're going to see, considering how much staff we have right now working, we're going to try and open it up so we can take more kids for each location. Right now, we're maxed out at 110 for each location and 115 at Lombrook. We're going to look to see if we could go to 120 for each location, maybe even 125 if the demand is still high. Our sports camps numbers are also very high. Strong numbers starting out. Usually they take a little bit longer to fill up, but they're doing very well. Preschool camp as well. We've cut back on what we're offering for preschool. We're only offering 4 separate weeks. So we kept the most successful weeks, the most successful sport that we usually do for preschool. And those have done well as well. Our spring programs are also underway. We're all outdoors now. Our after school program ended. Our Birdseye after school and our Franklin after school programs are now done. So now it's mostly just outdoor programming, except for our drills and skills basketball program, which is also all maxed out. We are going to be starting our volunteer program very shortly. We're going to be starting interviews next month. We have a lot of questions about that. We're getting a lot of phone calls from various schools asking us when we're going to start our volunteer program. All of our aquatics are coming back for May. We just finished our current swim lessons that we were running on Saturday. That finished this past weekend. We're going to be starting those again May 6th. Our aqua aerobics for adults, that will be coming back April 21st. And our open swims are continuing to run, continuing to fill out. We may bring them back for during the day. Right now, we're only doing evenings, but all of our lifeguards are coming back. We have a ton of lifeguards. Usually in the past, we don't. But we have over 40 lifeguards this year, which is very good. Helps us staff the beaches better, helps our aquatic programs be better. But yeah, things are just very consistently going, smooth sailing right now. It's getting a little hectic and busy. Like I mentioned that we're getting a lot of field requests. A lot of the sport leagues are starting up this week. A lot of also facility requests are starting to pick up. A lot of graduation stuff and various school activities are being put through our reservations. As always, we have the Shakespeare Market also coming back. That's going to be this April 6th, this weekend in the Shakespeare lot. We have a very big Hindu culture center that's going to be going on at Bunnell, which is going to be a lot of parking, a lot of people there. It's always very popular. That's going on at Bunnell as well. Bunnell also has a flag football adult league with Sterling House and Pop Warner flag football. That's going to be this weekend as well. That started a few weeks ago, but that's every week. And we are starting to hand out non-resident beach passes on April 7th, starting next week. And Yeah, that's pretty much it. We're just trying to stay afloat as we get busy. We plan on opening the wait list because that's the big thing for playground camps, to see if we can open up the wait list and just increase our max for all our popular locations right now.
Hey,
Andre.
Andre. Oh, go ahead.
Andre, your capacities for playground camps, is that dependent just on staffing, or is there facility, safety, other considerations?
Mostly staffing. It also depends on the location as well, because Victoria Soto, that's maxed out, but we're only taking 50 kids because we're in that inside playground area where we can't take as much kids. We can't take 110 kids there. But for the most part, it's also including staffing. You know, for example, Longbrook is a public park. Yes, we are at that location, but other areas or other organizations, YMCA also uses that area every now and then. We have reservations there, so to keep everything under control, that's what we do. We try to keep it at that number. But extra staff does definitely help us for that.
Andre,
Oh,
yeah, thank you, Arlen. Thank you. I'm just trying to understand the process of picking parks for summer camp. Because Hyde Park is an available park. I mean, it's not the best park. It doesn't have bathrooms, things like that. Are those the things that are in consideration when you pick a park for summer camp?
Yes, definitely. The locations that we pick, we try to pick the locations that can help us the most. We've been at various other locations throughout the years. I remember we used to be at Clover, which is a great park.
Yeah, it's a great park.
But we weren't getting a lot of signups there, so we took it away for a few years. We were at Franklin. We were using that location. We find that that location didn't have as much that we needed for our playground camps. Is really just that playground over there, and then the swings, and not really much else. So it was difficult to do certain activities at that location. We used to be at Chapel. Chapel is also a great park, but we also saw that numbers went down, so we took that away. So a lot of it has to do with location, but it also has to do with signups and how many people are actually attending that location.
So this goes way back, but when there was a bathroom at Hyde Park, does anyone recall if there was camp there, summer camp?
That might be before my time.
Yeah, it would be before your time. I was wondering if anybody else knew. So what about other locations on the south end? Like, what is going to be, because I mean, we're promoting to make this a town that wants families, and summer camp thrives families. It helps parents that are working. Do we have a plan in place for that? Is there
Right
something we
now,
could consider?
we're currently at Johnson and Soto in the South End. Like I said, we used to be at Clover, but we didn't get a lot of signups over there. So to kind of mitigate that, we opened up Nichols, which is kind of the middle of Stratford. So it's in the lower half of Stratford, so more people could attend that location. We do have Short Beach. It's a little bit out of the way, but they can also attend that.
How many people can go? How many children can go to Short Beach?
It's the same for all our other
150?
locations. So it's 110 currently right now. We have 26 on the wait list currently for Short Beach.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I know. I mean, there's a lot of people that want to get their children in camp, but thank you. Thank you. You're doing a great job.
And that's also something that we've thought about, opening up other locations, not just in the South End, but also the North End, because we used to be at Second Hill Lane and Eli Whitney and Wilcoxon, and we kind of scaled that back down. But we're seeing how popular it is and seeing how big our wait lists are. We're looking to bring back those locations as well. So, but it all depends. It depends on staffing and budgeting and all of that stuff. But we have all these great parks and locations and we see such a big demand for it that we can certainly start looking into opening other locations and stuff.
Yeah, I stumbled across a park up on the north end. I forgot the name of it, near a farm. It's not very big, but I was surprised at how many parks we have in Stratford.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No problem.
Well, Andre, talking about well before your time, I realize the playgrounds have been going on in town for probably at least 70 years.
Yeah.
And it was a great thing
Yeah.
when I was a kid.
Yeah.
But also, when you talked about swim lessons, it seems to me back maybe around the start of COVID, there was talk between the rec, the Y, Sterling House, I think maybe even PAL about collaborating on swim lessons because there's such a need, even for adults in a town that has so much shoreline.
Yeah.
Has there been any more talk about that?
That kind of died down once COVID ended, but I do agree as well because we also run private lessons and those always fill up right away. Private adult swim lessons, and right now we really only run out of El Grasso. We do run out of Flood in the summer, but it's something that we've noticed as well. You know, it's not just children; it's adults learning to swim as well, and there's definitely a big demand of that we're looking to expand. We haven't had those discussions with the Y or Sterling House, but it is something that we can consider. It's something that I can bring up to them as well because I do see a demand for that.
It seemed like a good idea. Catherine, is Sterling House going to have lessons this summer? She's on.
So the difficulty we've had in the past getting an instructor that is qualified. I know that on rec also has some problems in the off season too when college kids are not home in the wintertime. But we've found a couple of seasons we've had to hire an instructor and they're just not up to par. That's difficult. I know that the Stratford Y, they received a grant, I think this school year, where they were having discounted and/or free swim for preschool age children. Not all of these, but they had program. Maybe a month or two they were promoting that program.
Yeah, that's been a really popular program at the YMCA for adults only. That are really new adults, afraid to get in the water mostly. Yeah. My mother's been volunteering to assist with that. They had a great winter session and now I think a second session now.
Yeah, I always had that problem finding instructors. Thank goodness for Aileen's daughter. She was a good instructor. So, if,
Andre?
Any more questions?
If I may, Andre, I've got a couple questions. The first
Sure.
question I'd like to ask is, how was your first month?
My first month was a lot of fun. Very interesting. I learned a lot. It's very different from where I was because now you're overseeing everything and everything is really on my shoulders. So it was a learning experience. It was an adjustment period, but it was also a lot of fun.
Okay, the second question I have is getting into the budgeting aspect of it.
Sure.
You talked about the capacity for playgrounds is mostly staffing,
Yeah.
but you also discussed that numerous areas don't have the facilities that you need to really have a quality camp, whether they only have a swing set or what have you. Are you involved at all in the capital process? To fabricate a list, if you will, of items that could make it easier for you to hold camps at places?
Not currently, but we've had discussions on how we can make other areas hold our programs and what areas would be the best for us to succeed in that particular location. I will say that we're open to anything, and we do go to various locations to see what would work for us the best. We've thought about thinking about having our drills and skills program at Wigwam because Wigwam has been fixed up very nicely with a nice basketball court. and you know, and it's a small enough court, and that's good enough to help hold our children for that particular type of program. We've thought about going to Eli Whitney for doing a Gaga pit game program, because they have new Gaga pits that are up there, and we have the new Gaga pits that are built down at Short Beach that were built a few years ago. So we do take into account the various different locations. We do offer some suggestions here and there, but we're not actively involved in that. I think that's something that would be great for us to kind of put in those suggestions, because it would help us, you know, be able to kind of like think about where we want to be, offer other areas in Stratford. You know, various different locations in the north end and the south end. You know, a lot of our programs are based at Birdseye currently, and we do look to see if we can expand in other areas so people can actually get to those locations.
Yeah, I think you absolutely should be involved. As a former, I ran a municipal facility in Stanford for 25 years. Your input should definitely be involved in the capital program. And if I could give you piece of advice, is to ask for more than you need, and push for it.
Yep.
Because you deserve it.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that some serious consideration should be given to those locations down, you know, Cloverfield or High Park areas. You know, what can be done? What's missing? Is it a Gaga ball pit and real, you know, rental bathrooms that can be put there for staff and kids in the summer? You know, kind of what's missing. I mean, looking at the budget is done for this year, right? I mean, so
Yes.
you know, so doing, you know, we're two summers away from making a real impact potentially.
Exactly.
Budget is done now for next summer, so you know, thinking now about next budget year should be happening, you know, really soon, to think through what, you know, creative ways can those sites become, you know, viable if there's,
I
you
agree.
know, if there's demand, which I would think that there is.
If I could say something, you know, between the Art Parks Division and Andre's division, obviously we work very, very closely and have great relationships. But this is excellent points that Andre and I could sit down and discuss properties and see how playgrounds or how infrastructure could be adjusted to help camp in future. It's a great great point, you know?
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. That is awesome.
I'd be happy to be on any conversations if you wanted, you know, some outside perspective.
I'd be happy to be involved myself as well.
Sure.
All right, thanks, everybody. Good input. Going to continuing items, there is an update that Aileen sent to me and Paul this morning. Can I share some of that, Aileen?
Yeah, can I just make one more point? If I can be a part of it as like, you know, I don't know if I'm able to as a councilwoman, but if I'm able to, I would love to be a part of it as well.
Sure.
Thank you. I'm learning.
Yeah, probably you should be, since you're involved with the CIP and all
Yeah,
that.
absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah. So Aileen, probably this email you sent this morning would be good to go out to everybody, but I'll give everybody just a quick overview. There's some good news about Morgan Francis property. I guess they had a meeting in March 26th, Raymark meeting. And they expect to mobilize by the summer of 2025, which will include removal of the abandoned yellow building on the site. Thank goodness that's an eyesore there. And work will take 1 year to be done, hopefully restored by late 2026. And I think everybody knows the town plans to use that area for a recreation site when it's complete. And they will have separate community meetings on this when a contractor is chosen and a start date has been determined. So that's good news. At least we're starting to see some movement. And I think we were told in the beginning, if you remember Chad and Paul, that they said it would be a while.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a multi-year project.
Yeah. But it'll be great when it's done.
Is Eileen still on?
Aileen?
Yeah.
You better be. She's our secretary.
If I go, you all go right now.
Oh, just she asked for her comment and she didn't say anything.
Oh, I was shaking my head, sorry. Yes. That was from the Raymark meeting that they held a few 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. That's good.
So the bid, they went out to bid and they're now going through the process of choosing the contractor and doing what they have to do. So then they're hopeful that, by mobilize, that's the EPA's word for like things will, they'll start moving equipment, et cetera, et cetera. And then they're going to have separate, what they call community outreach meetings. So when I get those, I will certainly forward it to anyone on this committee if you're interested.
Thanks, Aileen. Okay, under new business, if anybody has anything, but I want to throw one thing out. On May 3rd at Booth Park, we're having something called Jane's Walk. It's, I think it's a national program, but we're going to just have
James.
people. What was that?
James or Jane?
Yeah, Jane, Jane. And the idea is it's going to be promoted throughout the state and get people to come and take a walk through Booth and see everything that Booth has to offer. So all the organizations that are part of the Booth Park Commission agreed it was a good idea, and it'll be like a 1 to 2 hour program. And hopefully we get a lot of visitors from out of town who have never been there before. Because Booth Park has so much to offer.
It's really amazing how much the town of Stratford has to offer. If you go on to the town of Stratford Park site and you just scroll through the number of parks that are on there, I mean, Chad, it is it's an overwhelming list that's on there. From they start with the big parks and smaller parks and medium parks, this park, that park. I was amazed. I didn't realize there were that many parks in town.
Yeah,
That's quite a list you got to take care of.
Yeah, we have over close to 500 mowable acres. So it's large.
And speaking of capital, how's your capital with equipment and
it's good
like that?
It's good. I mean, we've had some great directors. We have a current great director who watches all of our needs, and we put in our wish list every year of our aging equipment and all that stuff. And there's a good amount of turnover, which is great.
Okay, I guess if no one has anything else, our next meeting is scheduled for Thursday, May 1st. And I guess Aileen, you and Paul will talk about whether that'll be live or maybe we can meet at Booth or meet at Chad's house.
It's
You
my
can meet on my
understanding.
patio too.
And it would be a short commute for Mike too.
Barbecue, sir.
It's my understanding the elevator is finished. They're waiting for final inspections, I guess, or whatever. I don't know. The physical work is done, though.
You're welcome to come to my patio as well.
Actually, another great patio to meet at would be the museum patio. We have a great patio behind the museum.
That's a great idea. But
Rick?
Okay, I
Okay,
think
anybody else? I'd make a motion to adjourn.
have a second.
Second.
Mike, second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
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 Anybody dare to oppose?
No.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Aileen.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Aileen.
everyone.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Take
Bye,
care.
Aileen.